This is the Conscious Hour. Let's talk about democracy. Let's talk about having a government that represents us, we the people, and a government that solves our problems. We're going to drop into this one right now. Jeffrey Sachs got something, and then I'll roll it out a little bit. I'm going to give you some more information, some historical stuff that's important.
It could. We have on paper a constitutional system. It doesn't actually function anymore, but it still is there on paper.
We will come back to some of those, if you'll permit us, but being a Roman Catholic of Irish origin myself, I frequently cast my mind back. I'm with Bob Dylan. I think that that murder most foul in 1963 was kind of the beginning of the end of America. It was, I see videos, grainy, black and white videos now, of Kennedy on the Middle East, of Kennedy on Iran. I watched one today where he says that we should have thrown ourselves all in to defend Mossadegh in Iran from the CIA, MI6, and other malign forces who destroyed democracy in Iran, because the elected prime minister had the weird idea that Iranian oil belonged to the people of Iran. The more I think of Jack Kennedy and the more I look at this unhinged Donald Trump, I realize in a way that's a metaphor for how far we've fallen.
It's exactly right, George. I wrote a book about Kennedy's last year because I think Kennedy's year from the Cuban Missile Crisis to his assassination was a year of the greatest statesmanship that the United States had since Franklin Roosevelt. And Kennedy was on his way to becoming the great leader of our age. And it was for that reason he was killed. Almost surely by CIA forces and those together with them. And James Angleton looms very large as the likely culprit who planted the whole episode.
We'll stop it right there just for a second. It was also Mossad was involved with the CIA because they both worked together. But you have to go back one step further, go back to the farewell speech of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Beware of the military-industrial complex. Why did he say that? Because when he was president, they caught Mossad agents stealing yellow cake, which is uranium oxide, and shipping it over to Israel because they wanted to build nuclear weapons.
No doubt that it's that time, that moment, that America changed. And it's probably from that moment that no president, even if they had the druthers to do something different, would do something different, because they see what it would actually mean. Eisenhower told us all of this very explicitly. It's mind-boggling, actually, to go back to read the famous Eisenhower farewell address, which was January 17th, 1961, just 3 days before the end of Eisenhower's presidency. And that's the famous speech where Eisenhower says that we're threatened by the military-industrial complex. What strikes me about that speech is not only how prescient it was, but this was given by a general, not only a president, but the supreme Allied commander. And he was warning the American people, warning them about what the military meant for their democracy. He knew. And I think when Kennedy was assassinated, Truman wrote quickly afterwards that his biggest mistake was to have signed the 1947 National Security Act, which created the CIA in part as a secret army of the United States. And I'm quite convinced that Truman knew that Kennedy had fallen in a coup, not in the ridiculous story of a lone assassin. Recently, George, I've been reading incredible history documents of Olof Palme's assassination in Sweden, and it's basically the same story. I think it's almost undoubted that Olof Palme was killed in an intelligence conspiracy that involved the United States, the UK, MI6, and Swedish intelligence, so that it was an inside job. And the documentation is shocking in this regard, as was the failure to have any serious investigation, obviously, so it was a cover-up. But what struck me that I hadn't really fully internalized until reading these documents recently is how much Sweden changed exactly in the same way. And what I mean by that is when I was a young student, I loved Swedish social democracy. You know, this was amazing to me. The idea, and it was just breathtaking how Sweden was exploring novel approaches to ownership and worker ownership and the Meidner Plan. And there were many exciting things in the 1970s that I was enthralled with as a young economist in training. And then
we'll get back to the finalization on this one. So the moral of the story is this: we're down this road and of death and destruction. We have a President Trump, who's in office, who doesn't have the wherewithal to bring people together. He's being controlled by Israel, Mossad, CIA, and we're in a quandary. The question is, how do we end this? How does it end? It has to end with either the United States right now pulls out, tells Netanyahu no. That's simple. U.S. says, nope, we're bringing our troops home where we're done. What's Netanyahu going to do? Is he going to attack? He doesn't. He has atomic weapons, nuclear weapons, but he doesn't have the military to do it. He doesn't have the capacity of the Air Force and the capacity of all the anti-missile systems. Most of them have been destroyed. We'll have to see what happens, because Donald Trump has an exit strategy. Where is it? Right now he has nothing. But we'll find out in the next day or so. If they don't get a deal, will Netanyahu just go rogue? Don't know. This is the Conscious Hour, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like and share button. Please hit the like and share button. Add comments. Ask questions. I want to start interfacing with the people that see these reels that I'm posting. Thanks for tuning in.